Here we are, back again with another video in POD. So, as always, I start off with a question for you guys. So today's question is, did you hear about the coin factory machine that stopped working? Just doesn't make any sense. So there you have it, laugh it off, and now we get back to POD. So today's video is going to be about immigration in America, talking more specifically about the difference between legal and non-legal aliens, and then lastly finishing with the need and the reason that we have a government and what they do for us. So with alien, again, the book, we talked about this in class yesterday, but alien refers to something that is foreign, so something that is not from the United States. Not like, what's out there in Mars, what's out there in space, but what is not in the United States. So with aliens in America, there are restrictions on the number of immigrants who can enter. And right now it's capped at about 1 million immigrants. And that's dependent on whether or not they know someone living in the United States, whether they're family, whether they're coming for a job. But there is quite an extensive process that needs to be done. More specifically, they have to fill out an application in order to be seen as a potential immigrant joining the United States. Now, the next category is aliens that are living in the United States illegally. And really there's three major divisions or factions that you might say that they fall into. So the first one is a temporary visitor. Now, temporary visitors, as you can probably imagine, come for a brief period of time and then just end up never leaving. Now, when you enter into a new country, you have to fill out why you're going to that country, where you're going to be staying, and how long you're going to be staying. And they do that to kind of keep track of where everybody is who is not a U.S. citizen. So, like, for example, when I went to Mexico, when I was on the plane, you had to fill out a custom card, which basically said, what hotel are you staying at, how long are you staying there, what's the address of that location, and all that kind of stuff, so they could keep track in case they ever needed to try and find me. So if I stayed for after that week, technically I would be an illegal alien. And it's the same thing, too, in the United States. So that's the first one. The second one would be crossing the border. Now, this is a pretty hotly contested issue, especially in today's political climate. And our current president, Trump, is one of the main proponents and main arguers for building the wall between the U.S. and Mexico border, which I'll show you some pictures of those in class on Monday, something that my brother took when he was down in that area. But the second one is going to be crossing border illegally, and I really don't think that needs that big of an explanation. I think really that makes a lot of sense. And then the last one would be foreigners with expired legal permits. So really, what this can refer to is somebody who is, like, say, for example, a journalist comes to the United States, say they're coming from England, and they are coming here to try and document the election. It's 2020. We have an election. BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, they are going to send somebody here to report on the different candidates. Now, when they come to the United States, they have a legal permit to move about freely within the United States, and that is going to expire at a certain time. Now, once they pass that certain time, then they can potentially get in trouble. Then they're considered an illegal alien. And with all that, one of the major fears is being deported. Again, people come to the United States for a lot of reasons. One of the biggest ones is coming for a better life. So people crossing illegally do have that fear that they might be an illegal citizen. Now, the next category is going to be legal aliens. And really there's three different classifications. There's resident, non-resident, and refugee. Now, a resident alien is somebody who enters the United States, and they are going to stay in our country, but they are not going to become a citizen. And that's absolutely legal to do. But the one thing that you have to keep in mind is if you're a resident alien, you have to keep documentation on you 24/7 that you are a resident alien, and that you are only going to be there for you're going to be there for as long as you want to without taking that declaration of intent like we talked about yesterday. So that would be what we considered a resident alien. You're going to stay here for quite some time. The second one is what we call a non-resident alien. And this is going to be somebody who is going to be here for a short amount of time. It could be somebody who, again, we talked about the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, and them covering the election. But it also could be like a college student. Someone who is coming and living in the United States to go to a university here. They would need documentation. They would need a visa proving that they are in fact going to school here. And again, that's absolutely legal, but they have to be here for that amount of time that they claim, or they have to start filing more paperwork, or they go into the illegal category. And then we get refugees. Now, refugees, they are coming because what happened in their homeland was some form of a disaster. Whether or not that means that it is a war, whether or not there was an earthquake that destroyed their village or destroyed their homes. It's just not safe to be in that country. And, today, again, talking about today's political climate, refugees have been a pretty hotly contested issue as well, especially coming out of the Middle East. Now, once they are refugees, they are allowed to live within the United States. But with that, they don't have the same rights as all U.S. citizens. They don't have the right to vote. They don't serve on a jury. They are able to drive. But, really the major things that we have that kind of help us with our democracy, they don't have a voice in that there. So that's going to be the different categories between legal aliens. And then lastly, I have this chart here of the functions of government. So really there's four major functions of our government. The first one is to keep order. And the way that they keep order is to pass and enforce traffic laws. It's to establish courts. Basically just pass all sorts of laws to make sure that we are living in a orderly society. We oftentimes complain about like traffic laws. We don't want to drive the speed limit, but they're there to keep order. So people aren't all driving 100 miles an hour and someone driving 20 miles an hour. They do that to try to keep safety, which goes into the next category, which is provide security. So with that, they try to prevent crime. That does also go along with the keeping order with the different laws that they pass. And they also protect citizens from foreign attacks, which I'll say the United States, we spend the most money out of any other country on this category, that providing security. But oftentimes when I ask students that question, is that a good thing? A lot of people say yes. They feel safe here in America. So that's going to be the second one. They provide services for us. So they provide public libraries. They provide schools. They provide hospitals, parks, water, utilities. Basically everything that we need for infrastructure, electricity, that kind of stuff. They provide those services. Yes, they contract out stuff with electricity, but nonetheless, they want to make sure that we have enough services for us to be able to live a happy and healthy life. Which is why they make it so there's libraries in towns. They make it so you have to go to school for a certain amount of time, so you have to have an education. They want to make sure that you have the ability to get to a hospital, which is why those are going to be built. So you have those services, and then lastly, they guide the community. So with that, managing the economy, which, today, again, I keep talking about today's political climate. There's a big difference between Republicans and Democrats and what they think the economy should be doing, whether or not there should be bailouts. And during this COVID time, the economy has become a major issue, which is why you start to get things like the stimulus packages, where if somebody earned less than $75,000 a year, they got $1,200 from the government. It was more than just that $1,200. That went to a lot of people and went to a lot of small businesses. So that's what they really do for guiding the community, managing the economy, and then conducting foreign relations, the same kind of stuff there. So anyways, kind of a lot there, but we'll end it here and make sure to answer the Google form so you get credit for watching the video.